This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, my name is Bridget. I am with Building Impact, and we are so thrilled to be partnering today with the Cambridge Community Center to bring to you a phone tree challenge. We are thrilled that you have signed up to help us to reach out to isolated seniors at this time of COVID-19, in particular to help us in combating social isolation, and also to be able to bring everybody together around the help for the seniors who may need services and some food, meals, prescription medication at this time. So we first want to just say thank you. You'll have an opportunity to hear from Darren Corti, who is the executive director of the Cambridge Community Center as well. And we want to give you the information that you'll need in order to be able to make your calls as effective as possible for the folks at the Cambridge Community Center to be able to follow up and do all that they can to support the seniors through this time. So I just want to today walk you through what we have set up for you in terms of the information that is there. You should be receiving shortly, if you haven't already, an email that is generated from Building Impact that will give you the contact information of the senior that you're reaching out to. And in addition to that, you'll have an opportunity to go through this webinar to get a web form that you'll be using in order to be able to guide your conversation and record the pertinent information that'll help us to channel the right resources to the senior who you're working with. So first, just a quick introduction to Building Impact. We are a nonprofit organization that enables volunteer programs throughout the city of Boston and now in satellite offices around the world. We are thrilled to be partnering with LogMeIn to help to bring you this webinar today, and thank them for their support in providing the technology to make this all happen. We are also thrilled to be partnering with a number of corporate partners in this work, and we are so grateful for the time and energy that you will bring on behalf of your team to the work that we're doing today. So without further ado, first I want to just say thank you for answering our call for volunteers. The goals of this program are, number one, to combat social isolation. The second goal is to enlist help where needed. In essence, the back end of this form that you will be completing will trigger a set of workflows that will be alerting social workers and licensed care workers and further folks that will be able to address the specific needs that are identified through your calls. The most important piece for us is just that sense of building community, and that community that we are building is a virtual community, but one that will really help to strengthen the sense of connection for our seniors at this time. This is a 4-week commitment, so I wanted to just specify what we're looking for is to have you have a one-to-one relationship with a senior that you will have the opportunity to call over the course of the month of April, so 4 times over the month. You're not limited to that, but that is the commitment that we're asking everybody to be able to make. And we think it's really important in guidance with the social workers who we've been working with in designing this program to have that consistency in order to be able to build levels of trust that might help us to be able to identify resources even further along as times may get tougher before they get easier. And so we want to make sure that there are these 2 things that you have in mind. One is a 4-week commitment, and the second is an information collection form. So much as we want you to have a very pleasant and engaging conversation, we would also really ask for your help in recording the information that you gather from talking to your contact and be able to make sure that we are getting them the help and support that they need. So the web form is provided here. You'll also receive that in your email, and wanted to just give you a little bit of guidance on the organization that you're going to be hearing from. You'll get a message from Darren Corti shortly that will give you a bit of background on this wonderful 90-year-old organization, the Cambridge Community Center. For many of these seniors who you'll be reaching out to, they began coming to the center when they were kids. And so it's just a wonderful place, as you can see in this photo, a multi-generational community center. We were so lucky to be able to work with Darren in designing this program specifically to provide support for the seniors in Cambridge through this program. In terms of the recording of each call, we're asking you not to record the actual words, but to do the recording on the form that is provided here. So in other words, to make a record of the name, first name of the senior, the last name of the senior, who it is that you're calling each time. The reason is, as I explained before, this is set up to a set of workflows behind the scenes in being able to set triggers and alerts associated with getting help to the seniors identified. It'll also be a great record keeping for us to be able to have behind the scenes. So you don't need to actually record the call as much as we need you to keep a record of the information that is in each call in order to be able to help us to support the social workers on the backside in getting the resources that are needed. We ask that you begin with a greeting. That is a suggestion that is here. Hello, my name is Bridget. I am a volunteer with the Cambridge Community Center. That first and foremost will give them a locator on an organization that they know, an organization that they trust, and hopefully lead to then your opportunity to be able to say, today we are making phone calls to members of our community just to check in, see how you're doing at this very difficult time, and ask them if it's okay if we spend a few minutes on the phone at that time. Recognizing that some of your seniors actually also share childcare responsibilities or other things, there may be a time that would work better for them. And in that case, if you could offer to call them back at a time that works better for them, that would be awesome. If they have the time in that moment, that would be great too. So just in saying you're going to begin with that greeting, that is 90% of the work of this call happens in the very first couple of moments when you get a chance to identify yourself as a volunteer and to be able to speak with them to let them know that there is a warm connection on the other end of the phone. After the greeting, you may hear a yes or no. You may hear, yes, I'd like to talk to you now, or you may hear, no, there might be a better time to connect, or who are you again, and why are you calling? And so I think to explain the connection that you're working with the Cambridge Community Center as a volunteer, that this is an outreach effort that we have to members of our community to make sure that everybody is aware of the resources that are available to them, and to see if there might be any way that we can help and support. If they prefer not to be called, if they prefer, they say, look, I'm good, I'm all set, spend your resources elsewhere, that's okay. If you can just ask them if there is anything that they need, food, medical resources, or other, just so that we can record that information on the phone, that's okay. The folks that are connected through our database are connected by their connection to the Cambridge Community Center, but they haven't said, I need a call. So if they say, I'm good, I'm set to go, then you can just record that and we will rematch with another senior. Similarly, if your contact does not speak English, we do have a separate system to be able to do some matching on languages. We will do that outside of it. We ask that you just record that in again in the form, and we will make sure to do that matching, that rematching for you and also for that senior. So we ask that you just go ahead and complete the form in that way, and we'll be able to proceed from there. Unfortunately, we don't have all of that information from the data that is recorded through the community center at our disposal. And so we want to make sure that we use you as that first vehicle to be able to gather some more information and make these calls work a little bit better. In terms of our next steps, in the form, it asks you a series of questions. These questions have been identified as important things for the social workers to know in terms of a follow-up that may be necessary. It's also important just for our continuity in knowing if there are specific things in needs that may arise over the course of the 4 weeks that you're reaching out to them. So there's a question about basically, first of all, just knowing whether or not they're alone at this time, whether they have they're living with or somebody to check in on them. Also, if they need anything, and these needs are identified in very broad brush, food, household supplies, could be cleaning supplies. I've run out of soap, I've run out of detergent. Could be their prescription medications are running low, or they need the prescription medications. They could just need someone to run errands for them, or they need updates. They're looking for information about whether or not their bank is open or something like that. Some of that is information that you may have at your disposal and can do a quick web search for them and let them know. Others is information that we are happy to channel to them. So by recording this information here, we can make sure to do a follow-up in that way. Okay. On the next part of the form, there will be information about resources that you can share with seniors, especially regarding meals and access to food. So first of all, on the right-hand side here of the slide, it gives you an indication of the hours that are available that are for seniors only. These are special hours that have been set up in order to provide more safe times for shopping for seniors in the area. And so if you want to be able to provide information to them about shopping hours that are available to them, these stores are here. You can also look up additional stores for them if there are ones that are not on this list. Secondarily, in terms of Cambridge specifically, if they happen to be needed deliveries, weekly deliveries are available, again, through the Cambridge Community Center. So if you just indicate that we can have someone follow up with them to register them for the Food for Free program that is distributed through the Cambridge Community Center, you don't need to take care of all of that registration process. There are a set of hoops that need to be hopped through, but somebody from the Cambridge Community Center on the resource team there will follow up with them. So all that we ask that you do is that you let them know that if they are a Cambridge resident, they are eligible for weekly food deliveries. You can also make them aware that there are special shopping hours that are available to them at the stores in their community. These are the hours that are listed. Okay, so past meals, you may have other things to talk about and past immediate needs. And this is where, for the work that we have done with the community center, the idea that really having an opportunity to talk to someone at this time who wants to be able to share some time with them while they are having these long days of isolation is a really important ingredient to the success of this program. And so this is where we simply have sharing is caring. We look for opportunities to be able to have discussions and topics that might really lift the spirits of it. And so we have conversation tips that are really split in two categories here. One is about just setting up the call in a way that might work best to help them in and you in guiding the conversation together around the logistics of the call. And the second is a set of topics that are just suggestions that have been developed along with some of the of our partners on the social work side to help identify topics that would be potentially helpful. In terms of the logistics, first of all, we ask that you consider the time of day of making the call. Nothing too early or too late. We appreciate that you probably have a busy schedule of work and Zoom meetings or log me in meetings, go to meetings all day long. And so we want to make sure that you can alternate between your work schedule and theirs, but it might be good to call them at around lunchtime or an early afternoon to be able to catch them rather than something that is super early or late in the day. The second is to give your full attention to them, obviously, in trying to be patient if they're unable to speak at a faster pace. I tend to speak very quickly, as you have already gathered. So the idea of allowing them to be able to speak freely, give them the time and space that is created in that moment to be able to share with you and being patient in that way. Focusing on one topic at a time. Now, this is something that some of the folks who were experts in working with the elderly shared with us, that really hopping between topics can become confusing, especially without having a connection of looking at somebody face to face and having that conversation. And so I think structuring your conversation to really share with them one topic at a time might be helpful in order to be able to guide that conversation in a way that's easier to follow. And then the other thing that is just can become tricky is if there is background noise. So if you can find a quiet space for being able to have that conversation so that there isn't background noise, it may be easier for them to hear on the other end. In terms of topics to discuss, I love these. These were helped. We were helped with these in compiling a set of things that might be fun topics, a little bit of diversion from the current topics of the day that are being covered on the news. And we thought this might be a way to really lift spirits. So asking, letting them know that you're interested in getting to know them and would like to spend some time to understand what it is that makes them tick would be a neat way that you could open that dialogue to be able to say, really, I'm phoning a friend. I want to just reach out to you as a friend and be able to ask you a little bit more about you, your favorite things, the topics of a favorite show, TV shows that they're watching, movies, music, things that they enjoy, what they like to do, what are some of their hobbies, Is it knitting? Is it writing? Are they reading amazing books right now? What are some of those things that are the things that they love to do? Favorite foods or meals. This for me is always something that harkens back to the things that we think of as comfort within our own home, brings out culture, and would be, I think, a great way to gather some recipes. What are you most missing during this period? I think this is a time where, for all of the things that we just talked about, they may be missing the opportunity to do those things or to engage with others in some of, playing cards. If they're socially isolated, is one of those limitations that may be something that they're missing. So this is the opportunity, I think, to really sort of tie it a little bit into the current experience of what we're going through. As the second list is there, it's really about learning more about their experiences, their life experiences and accomplishments. We were asked to include what they're most proud of. That may include their family. It may include experiences in their life that they have been proud of and have an opportunity to share. This one I thought was a really interesting and helpful one from the folks that are focused on social life and the continuity of experience that prepares us for the current environment. And so the opportunity to ask them if they have had an experience in their lives at a time of hardship that would help to take these sacrifices that we're currently undergoing in our society into context. What has prepared them, and for them to have an opportunity to share with us ways that they have approached different difficulties and challenges, and ways that they are proud of the accomplishments that they have overcome. And the other thing is just to think about how those experiences have shaped the way that they're approaching today's time, the things that they call upon. I know that for the elders in my life, that they are calling upon times of war, times that they have endured hardship in their previous years of experience. And so to be able to think back to those things and what it is that we can do as a society to come together at this time might be a topic that would be helpful to think about in the context of these conversations as well. Okay, so once you have carved out time to submit to them, we also ask that you extend this outreach to others. In other words, if you can ask them if they know anyone else who we think should also be included in our reach out list. They may have friends or loved ones that we want to be able to connect with. And so if you could record the names and phone numbers for reaching out to others that are in their orbit, that would be great. We would ask that you inform them that you'd like to call them back next week, that you'd like to check in with them again. It doesn't, again, have to be next week. It could be in a couple of days, but that idea that you're going to be calling them over the course of a couple of weeks here, would that be okay? And ask if you could reconnect with them then. And then we ask before you sign off that you do one more thing, and that is to answer some questions that are time sensitive in terms of if there are any concerns that require an immediate response. This is an important piece, again, to trigger an immediate response in their triage with the Cambridge Community Center and the health workers that are supporting their work. And the second is, how long was your call? We'd like to just have an understanding of how these calls are going and the experience that is there. So we ask that you report your time in spending with them, and knowing that we really, really value that, have an opportunity to share that back with your team as well, and being able to look at the total, the give back time that you have in sharing these times out of community connection with our seniors. And we are so, so grateful to be able to report back on that impact, both within the company and also to Cambridge Community Center, to be able to share the hours of time that we have spent together, even though we're spending it apart. With that, I just want to say thank you. We are very grateful for your time today and for your time in the upcoming weeks ahead. If at any point in time we can be a resource to you and helping you to formulate a way of making this project better for you or supporting you through it, feel free to email us at volunteer@buildingimpact.org. We are happy to be able to work with you and support you on this project and on future projects as well that we do with your volunteering in mind. Again, we're super grateful, and thank you again for all that you're doing to create a better sense of community in a time that is a real challenge for our seniors. Thanks again.